Welcome back. Obviously, the NFL draft is come and gone. It didn't seem like there were going to be any surprises until, well, the Atlanta Falcons go and get Michael Penix, even though they gave Kirk Cousins $100+ million. Even though I like Michael Penix, it makes absolutely no sense. But now that the dust has settled here and we can kind of process what happened last week, and by no means am I going to bore you guys and give you draft grades for all 32 teams and give you the breakdowns of the 4th and the 5th and the 6th round picks. I have no desire to do that. We are going to look at it a more big picture, layman's terms type of thing, because I think that's just far more interesting and far more appealing for most of you listening in the audience. Be that as it may, Joe House, if there is a takeaway you have from an odds perspective, right out of the gate, everything's happened, what would it be?
So the good people at FanDuel have created a page under the NFL tab with all of these rookie props. You can bet right now offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, and then various yardage props for the quarterbacks and the receivers. And I'm just in there I've already spent too much time. I mean, my family's mad at me. I missed some dinners, some breakfast. I mean, it's just too fun. I will say this, right off the jump, right away, right out of the box, I am in this offensive rookie of the year spot, and I can't believe how much I like the Minnesota Vikings for this upcoming season, and I can't believe how much I like this situation for J.J. McCarthy sitting there at 10-1 odds as your potential offensive rookie of the year. He is walking into, from my estimation, by far the best offensive line. So if you start with that, and then you go down the list of all the skill positions, Justin Jefferson speaks for himself, the best wide receiver in the NFL. TJ Hawkinson, I think, is kind of underrated as a tight end. And then remember, the Minnesota Vikings went out and got Aaron Jones in this offseason, a guy that's very, very comfortable out of the backfield catching the ball. So just from an odds perspective, I really like this J.J. McCarthy angle for Minnesota as a offense rookie of the year, Dream.
So there was a lot of interesting ones. Obviously, Caleb Williams is the favorite. He has a lot of weapons around him in Chicago. So FanDuel has him as the favorite at plus 210. I look at a guy like Marvin Harrison. I think he's primed to step in and be great right away. But with some of these, you want to look at a long shot. And I'm looking at a guy, Keon Coleman from the Buffalo Bills, plus 2,100. Because what did the Buffalo Bills do this summer? They got rid of Stephon Diggs. This is a guy who is going to step in and be the number one receiver. So I expect him to get a lot of balls from Josh Allen. Josh Allen threw for 4,200 yards last season and 34 touchdowns. So it's just like somebody has to be the guy. And if I'm going to take a long shot, I'm going to take a long shot 6'3", 215 pounds, caught 11 touchdowns last year at Florida State, and has to step in and be the number one guy. So I'm looking at that.
So I appreciate you taking the deep dive and rolling the dice a little bit, Raheem. The only caveat I would have to that for Offensive Rookie of the Year is that for Coleman and for Marvin Harrison, for that matter, it just seems like it's turning the MVP award, Raheem. They don't want to give the award to anybody not named the quarterback.
I kind of disagree because C.J. Stroud won it last year, but look at the last 2 years before that. Garrett Wilson, Jamar Chase. If you look at the last 10 years, you're going C.J. Stroud, Garrett Wilson, Jamar Chase, Justin Herbert, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Kareem Hunt, Alvin Kamara, Ezekiel Elliott, Todd Gurley, Odell Beckham.
Wow, that's
Keenan
better
Allen.
than I thought. See, you know what it is? You think of Stroud and you think of Herbert, and you're like, oh, quarterback. Wow, that's give credit where credit is due. Not as bad as I thought. Okay.
I couldn't necessarily find a running back that I like, but it's clear if you're a top-tier wide receiver, you have a legit shot.
I like it. And I think we should now put this into piggy bank, and this is something that we'll think about maybe in September, right before we fire in on a couple of these. I do like your logic, House, with Minnesota. And I look at Chicago, and I know right now everybody is wrapped up in Bears fever. They finally have a quarterback. They go get Keenan Allen. They drafted Dunze, which I absolutely love and adore. They have DJ Moore. But I just kind of feel like everybody's on the Bears junk, and that scares me. I'm not going to lie. Like, I see the division, and I see Detroit, who was in the NFC title game. I see Green Bay, who won a playoff game last year, and they turn out winning seasons. Minnesota has a tremendous coach and a good infrastructure. I think the Bears are overvalued here at plus 350 to win the division. I do. I would not bet that. I am not on board. You could have some growing pains for Caleb Williams, who is certainly going to be under the microscope. I'm not getting involved with anything with Chicago Bears. Remember I said that, guys. I'm not getting involved with the Bears. It's unders or pass.
We will remember that you said it because I think we agree with you. I know that I agree with you, and you hit on the key thing, right? The big distinguishing factor between the Bears and the other teams in that division, and that division is very tough, is the coaching and the infrastructure. Like, I am not under any circumstances investing in Aberflunky. No, that dude, they had a chance. I really liked and admired the run that they went on the second half of the season. They brought in some support on the defensive side, especially a coaching position. And that defense with the addition of Montez Sweat really looked, pretty good. But that's a team that shoots itself in the foot. And you don't have to look any further than the last 7 minutes of the last game that they played of their season last year when they lost to the Green Bay Packers, who needed to win to make the playoffs. And they punted the ball on their side of the field. The Bears punted the ball on their side of the field to the Packers. The Packers just ran the clock out. Now, I mean, there were some injuries and stuff. There's always implicating circumstances, but I want to see the winner. Don't show me a loser. Try and go win the effing football game. So, sizing it up, I'm in the same sort of overall mind state, which is I'm staying away from the Bears. You're not going to get any value on them, Dream.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting any value. And I still have some questions about Caleb Williams because his season at USC last year left a lot to be desired. And I know the pieces around him weren't great, but I just was not impressed coming off of the Heisman season. And, my great friend, Brandon Anderson, compared it to, drafting Trey Young and thinking you're getting Steph Curry. And I don't know if that's the case, but it seems like people are coming in expecting him to be Patrick Mahomes, and I'm not sure that's the case. So I need to see a little bit more. I don't want to buy into the Bears at this point. They're getting a lot of hype, so I'm just going to hold and see what happens.
Guys, I have one more takeaway that I think is going to have a little bit of a direct correlation to an over-under. The Broncos, to me, completely reached by going and drafting Bo Nix. Bo Nix, who was in college forever, a guy that to me in prior years wouldn't have sniffed being a first-round pick. I think there was a sense of, holy smokes, we got to get a young quarterback in here. They go and get a young quarterback. And I look at the division. Kansas City is Kansas City. I think the Chargers, despite the fact that it's a retool year for them, I think they're going to be spunky and competitive with Harbaugh as the head coach. The Raiders play hard for Antonio Pierce. I think the Broncos, guys, are going to stink. So I see that quarterback room, Raheem, of Bo Nix and Zach Wilson and whoever their other quarterback is. Who is it, Jared Stidham? Please, give me a break. Remember, Broncos, under. I think I'm going to grab that now before the market realizes. Give me the Broncos. I think they are going to be in for a long 2024.
I think I like that pick. You're looking at over under 5.5 wins.
Under. It's low. I know it's low. I still think they're going under. I'm on it. Under.
I'm not willing to bet that, but I will join the notion of an under with them by playing Bo Nix under in terms of his passing yards. That prop is available right this second on the FanDuel Sportsbook at 2,850 yards, which is not very many passing yards, but I just don't see a pathway for the Denver Broncos in terms of a passing attack for that dude to get to sniff 3,000 yards. Throwing them to the wolves by just dropping them right into that division, a division filled with very good defenses. And we'll see where the Chargers land. But I think Coach Harbaugh is at least going to have that Chargers defense, moving in the right direction. So the Bo Nix under in terms of passing yards is where I'm landing right away.
I thought about it, Raheem. The most receiving yards by a rookie. You mentioned two of the guys. I think Harrison is going to be the chalky choice. I think Coleman is a very intriguing play. You know who else kind of fits that mold? Malik Neighbors with the Giants. Because I think about, hey, who's going to get the ball for the Giants? Who's getting the ball for the Giants?
JJ, who's going to throw
Who's
the
throwing
ball?
him the ball?
But they got to throw it to that's fine. Somebody's got to go and get They don't have Saquon Barkley anymore.
Who's throwing the football to him?
Daniel Jones and Drew Lock. That's it.
Oh, my God.
Hey, I don't care if the team is not any good. He's going to get 90 to 95 receptions, right? Volume.
How? What? Out of
Volume.
Backfield? Is he going to run backwards from the line of scrimmage?
I think Daboll's
He's
going to
be the receiving runner
on that. I'm telling you, that's something I'm thinking about. I will invest.
Let's go head-to-head on that. You pick the number. I'll let you set the over-under. You set it, and your first choice. Whatever you want. Everything relating to the Giants' offense is a giant under for House this upcoming season. That's an abomination of an offense with Daniel Jones as the quarterback. He's not going to be ready. We've been through this before. RG3 tried to come back too soon from a torn ACL, and his career was over. That was the end of it. We've got a repeat performance staring us right in the face here with Daniel Jones. I see no scenario under which a functional, mobile quarterback for the New York Giants arrives in game one, JJ.
Plus 480. Harrison plus 150. Coleman plus 650. Xavier Worthy 12-1 with the Chiefs.
I think Coleman is super sexy. That's the one that I like the best because I do think that Buffalo will try to incorporate him right away and make a statement to everybody.
And House, by the way, Malik Neighbors over under 840 and a half receiving yards. So you could have the under. I will take the over.
All right.
You know what, though? I agree with House in the sense that Daniel Jones is not going to be able to support a strong rookie campaign. But 800 receiving yards in a 17-game season, that's not that much.
It's not that many.
It's nothing. It's nothing.
And again, if it's a team that's behind in games, their offense may stink. They got to throw the football. They're going to throw the football to their most dynamic guy by a mile. And they're not handing it to Saquon anymore. Saquon's in Philly.
I love it. It's going to be a fun bet.
The bet's on. So we'll work and negotiate the terms. When we come back, we'll get you set for the Kentucky Derby with FanDuel TV's Mike Joyce. That's coming up next.